Hi, and welcome to the second hour of Mind Shifters Radio. And we hope that you are having a good day. Today is Monday, February the 24th, 2025. And today is Ryan's birthday, and we're very thankful to be able to celebrate that day with him. It's been a challenging 2 or 3 months for him, and he's doing well. We thank you all for continuing to send love and light in their direction. He goes back next Monday to Vanderbilt to have the flow of his shunt adjusted. So hopefully that'll take care of the swelling that he still is having over on the original tumor site. And we are thankful. We're going to have dinner with him tonight. Michael and I actually had the privilege of keeping the babies, Lincoln and Aria, on Saturday while Ryan and Gabby went out on a date night, which they deserved highly since they hadn't been able to get out with all this other going on. And we had fun. So it was an honor and a privilege. We've had several things happening in the background here. One is that I got an email from someone from India that is wanting to translate the Y book into the Hindi language. And so I've been chatting back and forth with her, and that's exciting. Starting next Sunday, March 2nd, going through March 9th, Michael is doing the Quantum StillPoint with several people. We've rented a house here in Bristol where they'll be staying and working with Michael personally one-on-one. I'm not sure that he has any spaces still available on that, but if you're interested, please contact us ASAP because it is filling up. And then we've had some people sign up and commit to the intensive in May, and that is going to be from May the 23rd to May the 31st, and that's at a retreat center in Abingdon, Virginia. And it's going to be a 9-day Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Urate is going to be coming in a couple days early to get things prepped and set up for the kitchen, and we're excited to have her doing the food. And there are still spaces there, so if you're interested in coming and doing a 9-day residential with Michael, then please get in touch with us on that and get confirmed, registered that you are going to participate in it. And what we're doing as soon as people sign up for either the Quantum StillPoint or the 9-day is we're going ahead and signing them up for the personal code evaluation. You take one at the beginning of the session or the intensive, and then you take another one at the end, and you'll be able to see the improvement that you've had during just that short period of time. And then you'll have one more personal code if you're in the 9-day. You'll have one more personal code to do sometime later in the future after you've continued doing your work around whatever's going on. And so we've got several people that are already working on that, and we're excited to have that participation. And so please let us know sooner than later if you want to be included in either of those events. And I think that's about all of the news. I have removed temporarily some of the things under events on the webpage, just so it's easier for people to find the Quantum StillPoint and the 9-day. And so the information is still out there. However, it's just hidden so that you can see what's coming up now, and it'll be easier to find and get information. And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Michael, and we got to switch earphones here, so give us just 1 second.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome, everybody. Delighted that you're here and that we get to engage in this conversation once again. And Miss Susan, how are you, young lady? Would you like to set the tone as to where we're going to go today. If so, push that call button. Let's talk about what's on your mind today. What's happening in your world? Dawn, welcome. Glad you're here. Looking forward to everything that's coming up. Getting excited. Heading to Asheville, North Carolina this weekend to participate in a Tai Chi workshop with Dr. Patrick McGann, who then is going to come up and do some Quantum StillPoint training with me so that Dawn can do, or pardon me, so that Patrick can do that. And I'm just looking at this, the call button's not responding. Well, let me see here. Oh, it responded, Sus. We got you. You're there. How are you, young lady?
It is responding. That was my mistake.
You're loud and
I
clear.
didn't press a certain button. So it was grayed out until I answered the question of why I want to call. So thanks for the invitation. I missed the beginning part about Ryan, and I try to scroll back on the transcript, but it keeps popping to the present. And while we're talking about transcript, on Dr. Tim's show, the transcript stopped transcripting or transcribing after a while. And I've noticed that happens
Right.
sometimes. So anyway, that's just technical stuff. Oh,
No.
it's,
So what's most exciting in your world now that you're back home,
oh, thanks.
getting settled back in?
One thing that's exciting, and I don't like it, and it's one of those things that rides in on the backs of events we don't like. And I attribute it to aging, and I don't like to support the idea of increasing decrepitude, but I'm having knee pain and hip pain and restriction in the use of both, and I'm a little bit lame. And I'm teaching my classes, but I can't tell if I'm or further injuring myself by doing what I'm doing. Anyway, I don't like it, and I meant to look up what who's the woman
Knee
Hay,
pain?
Louise Hay, what she has to say about joints.
I think that knee pain is about getting your needs met and support.
Okay, and what about the hip while we're about it, if you know that?
I'm not sure about the hip,
Yeah.
but if I know Jeanie, she's already looking it up.
Thank
So
you,
she'll have the
Jeanie.
answer for you for that in just a second, I suspect. And, you know, that practice of being willing to...
Sorry.
Oh, Jeanie is with us.
Okay, good.
Hip pain is carrying the body in perfect balance, moving forward, fear of going forward in major decisions, and nothing to move forward to.
God almighty.
Yeah.
Well, here I have my son who may never return home here except to sell his house. And my daughter is encouraging us to move near her in Florida, but Tim Bingham doesn't want to go. And I don't blame him. We are in a wonderful place and we've loved it here, and we have friends and a great church. And thank God the radio show is online, so we won't lose that. But there's a lot up ahead that I'm thinking, well, it's going to pan out one way or another. We're stuck here in a certain way because I have a very dysfunctional younger sister who is totally dependent on us physically and financially. And moving her would mean getting rid of a massive amount of stuff, and she's resistant to doing any of that. So there are some roadblocks, and there are lots of things going on, I guess. So I guess my knee and my hip are talking to me about it. Okay, so now that I've acknowledged that, I'm going to have a perfectly fine knee and hip, right?
Well, I'll hold the space for that, and or it may take a worksheet or two or a breath or two to move into that tissue and remove the offending energy. I know that I shared last week that I had an quote unquote issue of the heart come up. And
Yeah.
it actually taught me a whole new level of appreciation for taking responsibility for things being shown to me that I really sometimes don't want to look at, like most of us don't. And that stepping into the breath, and I know you just love to breathe,
Right.
that literally, I mean, it's still kind of mind-boggling that this strip of energy that, if I tried to center myself and, imagine being inside my body, I would locate it right in about the center of my heart.
Yeah.
That was a strip of energy about 3 inches long and maybe the size of a small pencil,
Mm-hmm.
but has been, quote unquote, what I would call physical pain since I can remember, really working on being in touch with what was going on inside of my body. And literally, it literally just disappeared, like gone in an instant. So what's the question becomes, what is it that I don't want to face? What am I willing to face? What am I willing to own that's going on inside my form?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And what
if, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what did you find?
There was no emotional component. It was just strictly, there was nothing that I was aware of. I was breathing around the idea of issues of the heart, what I would call that relationship, love issues.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing cognizant that came up in this energy being released from what I would call my physical heart. Of course, I know there's no such thing as a physical heart. So there's a requirement to begin to shift the energy. The quote that I've used recently from Max Planck, who won the Nobel Prize in physics. In all my research, I have never come across matter. So if you look at the truth, you don't have knees and you don't have a hip.
Okay. That would be handy right now.
To me, the term matter implies a bundle of energy which is given form by an intelligent spirit. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. Behind this force is a conscious or unconscious mind. That mind is the matrix of all matter. So what am I willing to delve into and look at in my own tissue structure? What am I willing to move through? Now, my mind will turn it into perception. Of course, we know how much of a joke perception is because we've been brainwashed and taught. And if we go back to that CIA quote, what they came up with, remember, was perception is demonstrably an active rather than passive process. It constructs rather than records reality. So let's say, for instance, you brought up your sister. And the fact that you brought that up in the context of dealing with, where you live and what's going on with your knees and your hips, you might do a few worksheets and see if there's anything to capture energetically around that, which is going on in your own tissue structure. And what I found is that each time I open and face and allow myself to embrace another issue, even though it may seem physical, take another step into vitality, another step into eternal life. The world has taught us to do the opposite. So, for most of us, the flow of life is, well, you just go with the family pattern and the cultural belief, and you're getting older, decrepit, all those words that go with it. And am I willing to be constantly vigilant, on guard, and willing to capture those energies that don't belong? Yeshua offers this in Revelations: to he or she that overcomes, and I would say overcoming would be been taught, they will not taste of the second death. And I'd offer that's the death of the so-called body. That the first death is when we lose awareness of ourselves as created love. Will not taste of the second death. Will become a pillar in the temple of my God. Pillar being fixture, temple being the body, not not some church somewhere. And then he finishes up and says, and will go out no more. So what do I need to face and iron out? What wrinkle in my mind, if in fact Max Planck is correct that this is an energy system and there's a mind behind it, what's the wrinkle in my mind that I need to face and embrace from my own life or from my generations? And if I choose to go beyond the constructs of my mind, then maybe everything that has, and for me personally, this is a request that's gone on for years for me, is teach me to face everything that has killed my ancestors, everything in my form, in my genetics, that has literally created disease or has killed my ancestors, and allow me the strength, give me the insight, give me the understanding to be able to embrace that and heal it. And so facing and embracing what goes on, it's a new idea in the world. And my take is it's time to end this aging and literally begin to youth. Remember the quote I've shared several times over the years from the DeCourcy Clinic in Cincinnati: time is not toxic. All of those who develop a time neurosis subscribe to the prevalent superstition that time in some way is a poison exerting mysterious cumulative action. Time has no effect on human tissues under any conditions. Vigor does not necessarily vary inversely with the age of an adult. Belief in the effects of time by those who subscribe to such a belief is a thing that acts as a poison.
I understand.
So there's no scientific basis for aging, and that the folks at DeCourcy Clinic went on to say it is the ignorance of the truth about the passage of time that causes us to cringe in fear before the accumulation of years. We need not surrender to age if our minds are sufficiently enlightened. So, I mean, it's literally changing what everybody believes.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you find somebody that could even start to have this conversation?
Yeah. Well,
And then Rumi gave us that beautiful piece of information back in the 13th century. Love is the cure. Your pain will give birth to more pain until your eyes exhale love as effortlessly as your body yields its sense. So what are the circumstances in which my eyes do not exhale love effortlessly? And then what am I going to do about it?
I don't know how to apply that directly, but I can sense it in an indirect way. If I just do as much serving and loving and caring as I can, it might reflect back into a healing. But I feel stuck, and of course that's what my leg is telling me. I'm stuck. I can't run around so much. I don't know quite how to apply this. Maybe it means doing those wake-up sheets and something might present itself.
Well, it's my offering is that it's all of the above. It's every tool we've got, every tool that we've offered over the years, and each one has been developed in order to, at least from where I sit, as my effort to put what, for me, I've uncovered from the Aramaic teachings of Yeshua and from, the medical training that I've had and such, to bring it into a practical space of functionality. And again, when you realize, well, the only thing we're changing is 1,000 generations
Right.
of these beliefs that have developed. I was sharing with our son and daughter-in-law the other day. We were over there, and there was something they were doing, and we talked about it becoming a family tradition. And there's a story out there about a woman who's over at her sister's house, and her sister is getting ready to cook a roast. And the first thing her sister does is cut, an inch off each end of the roast. And the sister's like, "What are you doing?" She says, "Well, I'm just preparing this roast." Says, "Well, but why did you?" "Well, because that's how you prepare a roast." Well, it turns out they go back and they do some family research. And, somewhere back, grandmother, great grandmother, didn't have a pan big enough for the roast they would use. So she cut the ends off.
Yeah.
And that's how you prepare a roast.
That's funny.
And how many silly traditions have we had passed on to us that until we are ready to get rid of them, and recognize that any form, the slightest form of fear or hostility, literally corrupts the functioning of our minds.
Yeah.
And, I don't know about your family system, but mine had a whole lot of fear and hostility that was just kind of like a normal part of the day. It's like, that's just life,
Totally.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Questioning everything it's a big challenge.
So, Michael, going back to that heart thing, I want to learn more about that because I feel as if it's relevant here. It'll help me understand what's going on here. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's very exciting that you found this new thing and you say you're different now because of it.
Yes. My physiology is different, and I sense a change in the energy that I radiate all the time. I don't know how to put my finger on it. I don't know how to describe it. That's just been my experience.
What took you there in the first place? A sense of being ill at ease or bothered
No,
about something?
there was an issue that came up for Jeanie and I,
Okay.
and some disturbance in my field. And it's like, okay, it's time for me to go in. Well, I've shared with you that my morning practice for some time now is taking time to just quietly be in a connected space, first thing in the morning before I do anything else, in a space of connected love, and literally entering the practice of delivering that to different parts of my own tissue structure. And just, that's really, there's not much more I can say. It's just tapping into that presence of love. And if I notice that I've got a pain in my big toe, then what I'm doing is I'm breathing down into my big toe, and I'm literally imagining, I don't know how else to say it than imagining that love is entering that space and bringing healing.
So
now, once this issue was triggered for me last week, or earlier in the week, no, it's last week now, I just went in and just did a full-blown still point session, bringing the practice of bringing love. And actually, at the point where that energy shifted and disappeared from my heart, I was oblivious to it the moment before. I was just breathing, and sometimes when you're breathing, you just kind of go out. It's how most people show. Well, I went out. It's just like there was no awareness of anything. And what brought me back was literally my body did a contortion on its own, nothing I directed or had anything to do with, except that I was breathing, did this kind of contortion, and it pulled up and literally it lifted me off the bed, I don't know, half an inch, something like that, and then just dropped back down on it. Totally involuntary, nothing to do with anything cognitive in me, nothing I did purposely aside from breathe. And I felt that energy dissipate from that place that I would describe as being right in the core of my so-called physical heart.
So
that's the best descriptor I can give.
So once you had healed, you realized you had a tightness or an unwellness in your heart that you weren't aware of until you were released from it.
Oh, no. I've been aware of it for decades.
Oh,
I've been aware that it's there.
Okay.
No, it was, as I say, I could describe it, and I don't remember exactly when I became aware, but I started to do, the fellows coming up to do the Quantum StillPoint training with me, Patrick McGann, you've heard him on the show.
Yeah.
He's a naturopath. He and I go way back. I started working with him over 50 years ago, or about 50 years ago. And so in those early days, I couldn't say exactly when, this was an energy that I became aware of. And at night when I sleep, I usually I go from side. I'm a side sleeper, and when I go to my left side, I raise my left arm and put it above my head.
Yeah.
And so every night, forever that I can remember, I would raise that arm, and I'd be aware of that tight space. I'd be aware of that pained space inside of my physical heart. What we call my physical heart. And it just ain't there anymore. I mean, it's just literally what of course we've been trained to believe is physically. I don't believe it's physically at all, but it's literally gone.
That's amazing.
Everything, the whole body of work is a practice. There isn't, when I first started to teach this particular direction with my work, the workshop was, why is this happening to me again? And it was all about, putting together how the mind works, how denial works, how perception works, and how to forgive, how to remove. I didn't know that canceling the goal collapsed perception way back then.
Yeah.
But that was the first workshop, and out of that workshop then came healing through relationships, and out of that workshop came communication. Did you hear what I think I said? And out of that workshop, and each one, I don't know, now we've got 15 or so, and each one is a tool, a practice, and here's the practice. And they are one, but they hit separate topics. I go to communication. Did you hear what I think I said? And we talk about projection communication or responsibility communication. But that's all a flow from, why is this happening to me again? A flow from the forgiveness process. Healing through relationships. The commitment is a flow from that whole same thing. And each tool, as the years have unfolded, and I've taught and would have questions from people and demands from people and go, I don't know about that. Then the next workshop would, okay, so we'll start to work on that and develop that as a way of understanding. And then, it's just a matter of integrating every practice. And my take would be that, with the awareness that I'm coming to more and more. In fact, just this morning, I'm continuously making requests of Ruka, teach me this, teach me that, teach me, as though I know. And an awareness I came to this morning is like, I don't even know what to ask for.
Yeah.
I think, I think I know. I think I just, this, that, or the next. But it was just this morning that I kind of came to the conclusion of, I need to broaden it. And it's like, teach me what I don't know how to know yet even. I'm open. But the truth is, I don't even have a clue what possibilities are. So teach me what possibilities are, because
That's
I
so
just
good.
don't know. So that's kind of where it's arrived for me. And you know, it's just opened a new perspective. You know, what do you suppose the creator had in mind in creating us? I don't know.
Hmm.
But I'm willing to be taught, and I'm willing to be an instrument of it. I'm willing to be a servant to it. I'm willing
Yeah.
to, to bring it forward. But I mean, we may be, the ant looks at the television set and of course doesn't have a clue. And the truth is, we may be in the position of the ant looking at the universe, and
Yeah.
we don't have a clue. So it's like, okay, so I don't have a clue. So now I'm willing to be taught that, which I don't
Yeah.
have a clue about.
Mm,
So,
right. Well, true to wanting to have an intellectual hold on things, and that you're just saying that you're letting that go too, and you're just being open and saying, show me what I don't even know what to ask. Show me the answer to the things I don't know how to put into questions.
exactly. If I was created with a purpose in mind and I don't understand it, teach it to me. I'm
Yeah,
teachable. I'm willing,
right.
and I
I,
want it now.
I know. I want it now too. I get that totally. Well, I have another question then, and these would be just me trying to organize my healing, having some part in it. And you've gotten to the point where you're saying, I don't even know what to ask, so take it away, God. Um, I have
I mean, I
this,
still ask for what I
yeah.
think I understand,
Oh,
and
sure.
then and again, it was my morning conversation this morning was, and I realized that I may not have a clue about what's really important. So
Right,
teach me whatever that is.
right. So I have a question. This is just a way of me jump-starting my efforts. I've been reading about the benefits of castor oil. I know this doesn't seem
Right?
to be going anywhere,
Yes.
but I've thought if I could, I mean, the house is pretty crowded, and oftentimes if I'm, getting dressed or something, a kid might show up and knock on the door and open it before I'm ready to be seen in my whatevers. But I have this picture that it would be very helpful to my knee and my hip if I could massage castor oil into that area. And this is, I didn't make this up. I heard a doctor, an Australian doctor that I follow, um, says that castor oil is like this amazing help.
Yes.
And in a way, if I did that, it would be my participating in a way I can control and have some say in the healing of things that I don't know how to heal. But it gives me something to do, like doing a wake up sheet. I
Right.
guess it's another tool, I guess. And
Yes.
okay, you're saying yes. Yay. Okay, because I can do that. And I can certainly do wake up sheets. And it's amazing what it's like I'm doing one in my head already. And I'm already getting a painful situation, memory quite recent, that somehow
Mm.
has to do with all of this. And I don't even know how, but I can work on it. I can do that's something else. It's like another dose of castor oil. I've got this to hold on to now and can work on that. Yeah.
And at the same time, what I hear you doing is opening to guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Follow and listen to and follow the guidance, because remembering that actuality is what is, and then most of us live in realities, which is nothing more than a construct of our minds
Right.
that gives some kind of meaning to actuality, and the meaning may be like, so far out in left field, it's not even relevant. So
Yeah.
teach me what actuality is, and
Oh.
open to the guidance, and really listening. Ultimately, you know this work is about supporting each person in coming to the place of pure direct guidance.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Yeah. That's good.
And realizing that all perception, all constructs of the mind, and sensations in the body are also perceptions. They're autobiographical.
Mhm.
And when we ask to be shown what they mean, ask to interpret it, because I think many people have misinterpreted signals and destroyed their lives over it. And it was totally false, totally misinterpreted.
Mm. Yeah.
So joining you in the next level.
I like when you say we're going on to another level. I always think, wow, this is like the Princess and the Pea. We've got 11 levels or 12 mattresses, and the pile is getting really high. We keep going up another level. I guess I've doubted that I'm going up levels. You're way, way up there. Oh, gee.
Well, I think that nobody knows where anybody else really is.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So, and looking without and trying to figure out where someone else is,
Yeah,
higher, lower,
that's
is
useless.
probably not all that beneficial.
No, it isn't.
But knowing that the study of healing, the study of health, is a whole lot more profitable than the study of disease.
Yeah, that's true. I was talking to my son. He's way far away now, but he calls on this satellite. It's Starlink. It's Elon Musk's Starlink. We have a connection. It's a good thing.
Right.
And I said, um, I'm reading about castor oil, and I'm reading about the possibility of cartilage restoring itself, growing. When you have bone
Right.
on bone trouble, you can grow cartilage. And the old MD that he is, he says, "Oh no, that's not possible. That
Not
just
possible.
doesn't happen."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm preferring to think that it is possible. Yeah.
Well, remember, well, this is going back about 2, maybe 3 years ago now, but there's a woman who actually, she hasn't been on the show in a while, but a woman who has been involved in this work for, 3 decades or more.
Mm-hmm.
And she had polio as a child, had post-polio syndrome.
Yeah.
And she had 4 joint replacements and was having pain in her shoulder to the point where she literally could not pick up a glass of water.
Whoa.
And she went to her doctor, and her doctor said, "Oh, bone on bone, we're going to have to do another joint replacement."
Yeah.
And that was the point where I was getting involved in the Avicen, and she bought an Avicen.
Mm-hmm.
And within a month, she was getting ready to move. Within a month of being told, bone on bone, we're going to have to do another joint replacement, and starting on the Avicen, she packed everything that the movers didn't pack for her move. She packed in boxes. She carried to her car. She unloaded the boxes from her car and took them in her new house and put things away with an arm a shoulder that she was told is bone on bone, and you're going to need a joint replacement. And it was so excruciating, she literally couldn't pick up a glass of water.
Yeah.
So now that we're established that there is no such thing as a physical body,
Yeah.
now again, our eyes deceive.
Mm-hmm.
The brain perception deceives.
Mm-hmm.
Perception gives meaning to actuality.
Yeah.
And any form of hostility or fear, disorientation, means that we've given a false meaning to this, whatever this is at any given moment, this particular actuality. And when we choose to give it up, that's when we can open and see that there's something different. And, to really get to understand what is really going on, the starting point for actual healing has got to be the truth. And if, let's say, for instance, this quote that I just read from Max Planck, physicist, quote, "I have never come across matter Well, if truth is required to heal, and we're talking about a body, we're obviously not playing in the realm of the truth.
Yeah.
So being open to be, just to be taught to, I love the way Dr. Tim talks about it. And, I haven't heard him speak it recently, but, oftentimes on the show we talk about, so I approach something that I think I know, but I'm not really sure. And so I approach it as though I know nothing about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
here, teach me. I don't know.
Great.
And
Oh, that's a
when I
great.
think I know and my knowledge is false, then I just put a block up.
Yeah, that's true. This is a good starting point. I don't know anything. I don't know what this means, and I don't know if it's even a fact.
That's straight out of the Course in Miracles too. I don't know what this is for,
That's true.
but I'm willing to be taught. And so, perhaps making the inquiry. I don't know what this pain in my knees is for, but I'm willing for it to teach me. So I'm going to get quiet. I'm going to take a breath, and I'm going to go inside of my own knees, and I'm going to feel what that feels like. Exactly where is it located? What size is it? What shape is it? My pain there is a perception of an energy. Am I willing to have that transformed? Am I willing to recognize that I can transform it? Because the world will tell you, no, you can't transform it. That's outside of your power. That's physical.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it really is time for the world to catch up with the truth. And the truth is, Einstein, on such things as matter, we have been all wrong. What we have heretofore called matter is energy, energy whose vibrations have been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. There is no matter.
Yeah.
And here's Max Planck saying the exact same words as I. There is no matter as such, is the way he says it. It originates and exists only by virtue of a force. Behind this force is a conscious or an unconscious mind. So how can you go in and transform your perception, the meaning you give to it? And what the quantum physicists are saying is that these quantum energies don't exist until they're measured. What does that mean? That means that this intelligent mind that he's talking about has to tap into them and observe them. And I mean, literally what they're saying is it doesn't exist until that happens. What does that mean? That means we're creators. That means that the energy that I hold and literally radiate toward this little packet of energy is going to determine whether it turns into a spike that destroys my tissue structure or a delicious, wonderful healing salve within the same piece of tissue. What my mind energy does, now go back to the opening words in the book of John, and where it doesn't say in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh, but in the beginning was the mind energy. And the mind energy became flesh. So what autobiographical meaning does any form of pain have? And am I willing to own it and stop blaming my body or somebody else for it, embrace it and go, let me go in there. Let me bring love to this. Let me bring the all-wise solvent to this energy that is pain and see how deeply I can embrace it and transform it, because my mind is the matrix, according to Max Planck, that determines what happens here. And of course, if my mind has been brainwashed by 1,000 generations of, well, this is the way it is, well, that's the way it will at least appear to be. but maybe it doesn't really mean that's the way it is. What thoughts does that bring forward with those breaths I hear you breathing?
Oh, well, I was thinking about what you and Jeanie are announcing, your retreats, and I was thinking, wow, the energy they have, and Urati going and doing all that prep and cooking and meal planning and all of that vitality. And I'm thinking, I can't do that. And then I thought, maybe I've got a knee and a hip problem because I'm being told to slow the heck down. I have been in a hurry my whole life. And I'm not being required to run retreats or even put on operas. Can I like this? Can I love this and accept this? I don't know, Michael. I don't know what to do. There are a ton of thoughts coming through.
Yeah, and maybe it's time to follow the guidance to slow down and go more deeply within rather than being outer directed. Maybe it's time to take your awareness back inside into that deeper place where, you know, especially as we grow, life has all kinds of demands for our energy.
Yeah.
It wants to run us everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Kings have a purpose for each and every one of us. And maybe it's time to give up those purposes. Step into the truth of being, which, you know, if you hold a newborn, it gets really clear. It is the presence of love.
Mm.
And take that presence into what appears to be your body and see what it does. And the most reliable way I know for love to be moved throughout the structure is through Rukadikuja, that feminine elemental force in us that, one, undoes the effects of our errors, and two, will teach us the truth. Direct access, unless we're too busy.
Yeah. Being too busy has been overly valued, I think, in our culture, or in my family at least.
Kings want you to be busy. That's how you produce wealth for the king.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's not what we're really here for. So breathing with you.
Thanks. There's a lot to think about here.
And my take would be there's a lot to breathe into.
Yeah.
Because, let me see, let me get my brain there. What's his name? David Bohm,
Oh, yeah.
physicist. He says, most people, when they think they're thinking, are merely, he says, rearranging their prejudices.
Uh-huh. That's true. Right.
So maybe just give yourself the gift of some space with just befriending the breath. Let it move through you. Nothing else to think about, nothing else to accomplish. Nothing to accomplish, just to be with that. And in my observation of 50 years of breathing people, the reason it's called still point breathing is because where the miracles occur is where the breath spontaneously stops. And we move out of resistance, out of Satan,
Mm.
into a superconductor state. In the superconductor state, anything that's lodged in the structure, whether it's from 2, 10, or 100 generations ago or yesterday, is loosed, is freed energetically. And what is freed energetically, by definition, is forgiven.
Mm. Thanks, Michael.
Well, actually, thank you for the focus on this topic, because it's impacting me as it's impacting you. It's like it's bringing deeper insight for me as well. So I have an appreciation.
Thanks. Good.
It is. So where is Jonathan? You said he's far away now. Last time I think he was off the coast of North Carolina, Wilmington or something like that.
He's in Nassau.
Oh,
I
I have to do
know.
worksheets on jealousy. Well, actually, it's warming up. It's warming up here. It's going into the 50s today, but it's been
I
down to
know.
like 9 degrees here in the last few nights.
I know.
So
It's really amazing. Yeah, and I got a wonderful FaceTime call from him yesterday. And, it's like what you said, that Dr. Tim talked about it, how you move across the country and the new person you meet finishes the sentence of the person that you left in the other place.
did he get to do a why is this happening to me again when he got there?
He did. He in his own way, he said,
Oh, that's awesome.
"Guess what? I'm depressed and anxious." And I said, "Well, I'm not surprised. You thought you were running away from it, and I wasn't going to burst that bubble, but I've been waiting for this call." So now
Well, it
there's
sounds like
some.
he's doing it lightheartedly, at least.
Well,
He's
he's
not
he's
lost in it.
no, and he's doing his work in his own way. And he said, I feel that this boat is a money trap. I mean, the engine went, I lost some equipment, I've had to replace this and that. I can't keep this boat unless I get a job, because it's just too expensive. But that's in the future. But he said, right now, I feel at home on this boat, and my cousin
Nice.
and I have had some hard discussions. His cousin is his cousin, so shared
Right.
family garbage. So they have had some serious talks about the baggage that they, one of the cousin accused Jonathan of being arrogant, and Jonathan says, "Pot calling kettle black. You got you got the Bingham arrogance too. Just have a look at it. We both need to do some correcting here." And the other guy said, "Yeah, you're right." So they're very cute together, doing
Ah,
some
that's
work.
awesome.
I know it's very sweet. But he said his cousin asked him, "Tell me three things you're grateful for." And Jonathan listed three. And then Jonathan asked him, the cousin, and the cousin said, "One of them is that I'm sailing on this boat with a cousin that I didn't know very well. Instead of living in Seattle doing consulting work and feeling as if I'm a failure, I have loved
Hmm.
being on this boat." And
Wow.
Jonathan said, "I can't tell you how much that means to me because you seem often critical of me." And the other guy said, "Well, I am sometimes critical. You're acting like you know it all because you're a new sailor, and I am a seasoned sailor, and I've been a captain of many boats, and you don't listen to me." And Jonathan says, "Yeah, I don't. I think I know it all, and I'm learning a lot from you." So they're
Ah,
just
that's great.
they're
Sounds
so
perfect.
I know they're just teaching each other. And the other one, the cousin, is a practicing Buddhist. And
Mm.
he does his quiet times, deep quiet times, twice or three times a day. And Jonathan's watching this, and it's just been rich and good. And Jonathan seems, he says, I do have anxiety in the morning, but it goes away more quickly, and I'm not depressed. I'm happy. Of course, that's watch the language. I'm not depressed. No, he says, I'm feeling better. So he's right now, it's been up and down, and that's been the story of my life. It's I've hitched my boat to his boat, and I'm unhitching it. And he's helping because he went far away. But that may be something to be worked through too, is he told his cousin, one of the things I'm grateful for is my relationship with my mother, which you've been critical of because we seem too close. But I don't think we're too close in an unhealthy way. I think it's been a rich, wonderful relationship. And I may be wrong, but it's great. And his cousin said, yeah, I can see that. It isn't like mine with my mother. If I were that close to my mother, I'd be in deep trouble right now. So
Mm.
anyway, there are a lot of sweet things going on. But I'm up here getting used to the idea that I've been holding on to my son's proximity a little too tightly, which is the unhealthy part of it. So
Hmm.
anyway, thanks for asking, Michael. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to send you a link to
Okay.
the Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop, and maybe send it on down to them and just say, here, take a look at this. And the two of them together might just, it sounds like they're really processing with each other. So
Yeah.
they together they might be ready for another tool. But
Well,
that
that's
sounds
great.
wonderful.
I'll send it
That's
along
awesome.
to them. I don't have huge hope in that because
Yeah.
I've always said I'm his mother, and so he's got to find his own. But anyway, that's a great idea, and I can certainly send it. I'd be delighted to send it, and I'd be delighted if he's decided, hey, let's try this, because they
Yeah.
do have time.
Well, it
Yeah,
sounds like they're processing, and this might give them a
some
common
shape,
language with which to accelerate the process, and you
right?
know
Yeah.
maybe ask them for feedback on how it impacts them if they watch it.
Oh boy, that would be tantalizing all around. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thanks for the show. Yeah, Dr. Tim was reading from this commentator, an author who wrote a second book of Course in Miracles, which is so fantastic. And in that book, he quotes you that he came
Oh,
across
really?
your yeah.
The author
So,
of Course in Miracles
yes,
quotes
he
me. Oh,
says,
really? Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. Oh, I wonder if Dr. Tim just stumbled on it himself. He seemed surprised. Um, anyway, come on in. I think. Oh, hi, Otman. Just don't let the dog out. Okay, I better go. We've got action here, and it's the end of the show anyway. Thank you
We're down
so
to the
much,
last minute,
Michael.
so anyway,
Yeah.
thank you. I'll take a look for that. Of Course in
All
Miracles.
right. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
He even named the page, and if you look in the archive, maybe the transcript. I don't think it went on that far. That's that weird transcript.
Cool.
You may find the page. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah. You're famous.
Have a blessed one. All right.
Okay.
Lots of love and blessings. Take care.
You too. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye. Oh, it's Alan Cohen. Oh, yeah, I know Alan studied my work pretty extensively. That's cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Have a blessed one. Best year yet of your eternal life. Take. Bye bye.